All right, everybody, I'm back. I've been posting to my music channel again. It's Dreadword Bernays. I'll leave it in the description. And I've been doing the Q&As and doing the video lessons and even some in-person lessons with my man Christian all over on the Patreon. So if you guys want to ask me specific questions, if you want video lessons, anything like that, hit up the Patreon. There's a link in the description. I'm back with another rookie mistake today, and it's gonna be ironic coming from me, but I just want to tell you that some of you guys are popping too high. Yep. What do I mean when I say you're popping too high? I mean, if you're at a stage where you're trying to board slide 50-50, feeble grind, crooked grind, a flat bar, a handrail, but every time you pop, you get up over it, and once your trucks or your board get onto it, you slip, you fall over, you feel like you hit the rail with too much force. If you're trying to skate a ledge, and every time you get onto the ledge, you feel like you get on, and then you hit it with so much force and you don't grind, but there's wax all over the ledge, so it doesn't make sense. This is a big problem that I had with my skating. And overcoming this allowed me to unlock the ability to skate so many different obstacles. So, the reason that we pop higher a lot of times is because with skateboarding there's fear involved, right? And our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight, it's going, right? It's activated. So when we're trying tricks, and especially novel tricks, a lot of times we're afraid and we want to try the trick, but we don't really want to be trying that trick because we're afraid. And so a way that we deal with fear, I know myself, there's two ways. I would either go way too fast. You know, I'm trying to board slide like a little 5-stair rail. I'm going so fast that I gap out all the way to the tip of the rail. Or once I start to slow down to get onto it, I just pop way high, which has the same effect but even worse, because now I'm going the appropriate speed, but I've popped so high that I'm still gapping out to the end. So once I hit the tip of that rail, I slip back and hit my tailbone on the rail. Or once I get onto the rail, my board cracks because I landed on it with too much force in the case of a board slide. Or with the 50-50, I get onto that rail, but I pop and I'm like 4, 5, 6 inches over the rail before I get on, and I land on the rail with so much force that my heels go inside of the rail and my tailbone goes over the other side of the rail, you know? And I'm gonna give you a simple way to fix this. And I mentioned this in my video where I covered 50-50s, okay? So a big way that I overcame this was to find first a parking block. And I talked about this in my 50-50 video. And I rolled very, very slow. And I'm specifically talking about 50-50s because I struggled with these in the late 90s and early 2000s when I was learning to skate in LA. All the LA street skating older guys that I skated with, you know, they used to joke like, you know, 50-50s are whack, even when they saw a big 50-50 on a handrail. So I didn't see many people 50-50ing, and a lot of my skating was learned visually by following people around and watching them do tricks and harassing them for little tips on those tricks, even though sometimes they wouldn't give them to me. And I learned tricks that way. So if there was no one who could do the trick well around me, I pretty much wasn't going to learn it. You have to remember, there was no social media, there were no camera phones when I was learning to skate, and I didn't have the type of VHS player where you could slow down the clip frame by frame and watch. So pretty much if I didn't know someone who could do it, I probably wasn't going to learn to do it, be able to learn to do it, unless it was a trick that came natural to me, like some tricks do. So 50-50s were just kind of out. I learned front salads, front feebles, all kinds of tricks on rails, and I couldn't 50-50. And I used to laugh at it. And anybody who skated with me over the course of my career will know that I always struggled with 50-50s. And it was Jordan Maxim that helped me figure out how to get over that. Jordan Maxim and Paul Flores, so WarCo squad. Shout out to the WarCo boys. That was a great chunk of my life. We filmed some videos. Like, we did the best we could do with that company and got it to a pretty good level before everything ended, and I wouldn't trade in that experience for anything. And those are my boys for life. But yeah, the way that I got over it was I started to go to a parking block. I'd roll as slow as I could, and Paul Flores is the one that showed me how to heel lock a 50-50. So with the front side, I would roll really slow, ollie onto that parking block, make sure I ollied only as high as I needed to, and I would sit in that heel lock position and balance, and then hop off. And I did that over and over and over with the front side. And with the back side, I always cross lock, because Jordan Maxim taught me to cross lock. And I did the same thing. I'd go really slow, pop onto that parking block in a cross lock position, hold the balance, and pop off. Once I got comfortable with that, I found a little flat bar. I think the one that I used was the one at Frogtown Skate Park here in LA. And I did the same thing with front side and back side 50-50. Just roll up to the flat bar really slow, jump on, barely even grind. Maybe I move an inch and then I stop, but I tried to hold it as long as I can and jump off. And then slowly I sped up. And then once I could speed up, then I would slowly grind farther. And then once I could do that comfortably, then I'm able to do it on handrails. Then I'm able to go and, a bump to bar, I'm able to backside grind that and hop over. And all of that confidence came from slowly acclimating to doing the trick and slowly getting comfortable with popping only as high as I needed. Because, even though my first ad in a magazine when I was 15 years old, it was a Trans World, it was a 50-50 on a kinked rail at UC Irvine, I didn't know how to 50-50. Like, I'd do them, but it was just a shot in the dark. Every single time I tried it, I was rolling the dice. And I didn't know that you were supposed to pop just high enough to get onto the grind. I didn't know that you were supposed to cross lock or heel lock. I just got onto the rail, and if it worked, it worked. And that UC Irvine 50-50 that I did, I flipped over the rail, all kinds of falls I took, but I just wanted that ad, and I was told if I could get the trick, I would get that ad. So I made it work. I muscled through it. And, there used to be a flat bar out in front of LACC here in LA, and I got footage of me 50-50ing that when I was like 16, and I sacked it because I didn't know how to get on properly, but I just muscled through it. And that's what we did back in the day. The robust understanding of skate tricks that we have today wasn't really a thing back then. But I'm here to share that with you. And if you guys apply the method that I just mentioned, then you'll stop committing this rookie mistake of popping too high when you're trying to get onto specific tricks, like mainly grinds. Blunt slides on ledges were another one where I had this issue. You can kind of get away with this when you're blunt sliding a rail because it's really just ollieing over to a tail slide. But when you blunt slide a ledge, it's going to be up, and you got to really balance that. So I would pop too high and get on at the very end of the ledge because I was scared of committing to the blunt slide. And then I wouldn't be able to turn out. Or I would pop too high, and my wheels and my tail would end up inside of the ledge, and my heels would go inside and my tail would go outside, land on my tailbone, until I got the confidence to roll up slow, ollie into the blunt, hold it, and then pop out, and then speed up slowly. So just remember, skateboarding is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You don't have to be in a rush to do a trick on an obstacle you're not ready for. Start very low. Make sure you work out the control and make sure that you're popping only as high as you need to. Even when I'm doing these like crooked grind nollie heel flip outs on these waist high ledges nowadays, or crooked grind nollie heeling out a handrail, I have to ollie only as high as I need to into that crook. Because if I ollie too high and I land in a crooked grind with too much force and I'm trying to land in position to do a nollie heel, guess what? I'm not going to be able to hold that crook balance and nollie heel out. So I landed with too much pressure. So I've got to ollie only as high as necessary. And the earlier you learn this skill, the earlier you adapt to this, the better you'll be, the better you'll skate, the more fun you'll be able to have with your skating. So I hope this helps you guys out. Thank you for watching, and enjoy skateboarding.